Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we are diving into a collection of key literary quotes or one-liners that are not only famous but also incredibly significant for the UGC NET English Literature exam, PGT exam and other various state exams also. So here each quote will be explained to help you understand about its context, about the author and the relevance of the quote. So as the exam is only 15 to 20 days away, I thought if I bring this video, those who have revised their syllabus, it will be helpful them to remind them all about the key quotes, and those who are still struggling with the revision of their syllabus, this will help them to keep their revision on track. So without much delay, let's start our video. So before learning about all the quotes, I would like to mention that I'm only giving you the important one-liners. There are so many other quotes and one-liners that comes in the exam, but these are some of the frequently asked quotes or one-liners that may have the that they have the chance to come in exam more often. So that's why I'm discussing about all this, and I'll give you a brief description about each quote so that you will not miss the context or who said these quotes. So let's start our first quote of the day from the Canterbury Tales, which was by Geoffrey Chaucer. So please read the quote. What that April with his sour suit. So this was by Geoffrey Chaucer from the Canterbury Tales, and this is the opening line which describes the rejuvenating spring season, setting the stage for the pilgrimage to the Canterbury, and it also highlights the renewal of life and serves as an introduction to the diverse group of pilgrims. And now let's move to Dr. Faustus by Christopher Marlowe, and it's a quote that is from Dr. Faustus was this the phase that launched 1,000 ships? So here the speaker was Faustus, and Faustus speaks these words while admiring the Helen of Troy, and the Helen of Troy, who symbolized the ultimate beauty and its power to inspire some great events. So it underscores Faustus' yearning for the transcendences and beauty. Next, let's move to the next quote, that is, all the world is a stage and all the men and women are merely players. So it was the quote from the As You Like It by William Shakespeare. So here William Shakespeare reflects on the stages of human life in this metaphor. This is a metaphoric line, and here he reflects on the this line was by Jacques, who reflects on the stages of human life in this metaphor, likening life to a theatrical performance, and it conveys the transient nature of existence. We have the next quote here, and the next quote is, what is this life if, full of care, we have no times to stand and stare? So it's one of the most important quote by W.S. Davis from the work Leisure. So here this quote defines that Davis here emphasizes the need for mindfulness and the appreciation of nature, and critiquing the fast-paced industrial lifestyle of modernity. Next, we have a famous quote that is, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. It was by John Keats from his poem Endymion. So Keats celebrated the eternal impact of beauty, aligning with the romantic ideals of art and nature as source of the enduring joy. Next, we have water, water everywhere, nor any drop to drink. So it was by Samuel Taylor Coleridge from his work The Rime of Unset Mariner. So this line highlights the irony of the sailor's situation, surrounded by water that he cannot drink, and it symbolizes the human helplessness in the face of nature. So the next quote we have is, the child is father of the man. So it was from the work My Heart Lifts Up by William Wordsworth. So here in this quote, Wordsworth reflects on the continuity between childhood and adulthood, and emphasized how early experience shapes our future identity. And now let's move to the next quote, that is, it is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. So this famous quote was from the work Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. So Austen here begins a novel with this iconic observation on the marriage and societal expectation. So this was the opening line of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. So this was the beginning line of a novel, and it has the setting it has setting the tone for a critique of class and relationship. Now we have the next quote. I am no bard and no net enslaves me. I am a free human being with an independent will. So it was by Charlotte Bronte and this quote was from Jane Eyre. So Jane here declares that her independence defying the societal norms of gender and class. And this line reflects the novel's feminist undertones. The next quote we have is, do I dare disturb the universe? So this quote was from the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot. So here Prufrock questions his ability to take decisive action and symbolizes the paralysis and self-doubt that characteristics of the modern protagonist. Now let's move to some of the key one-liners and quotes from the literary criticism and theory. So from the literary criticism and theory, our first quote was going to be of William Wordsworth quote from Preface to Lyrical Ballads, that is, poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. So Wordsworth here defines poetry as deeply emotional and inspired by personal experiences, and this became a cornerstone of Romanticism, rejecting the rigid rules of the Neoclassicism. And the next quote we have was, the unexamined life is not worth living. So this was a quote by Socrates, and this quote was applicable to many philosophical and literary contexts. So this line emphasizes the importance of self-reflection and philosophy, and it frequently quoted in literature, and it advocates for a meaningful and introspective life. Next we have a famous quote, art for art's sake. So this quote was said by Victor Cousin, and this term was popularized by Walter Peter and Oscar Wilde. So this phrase promotes the idea that art should exist for its beauty and not for the moral or utilitarian purpose. And it became a key tenet of the aesthetic movement. So key line of the aesthetic movement was going to be art for art's sake. Next we have, a play is not a literature. It was by T.S. Eliot. So Eliot here emphasizes the performative nature of drama, suggesting that plays achieve their full meaning only in performance, not as some written text. Now we have a famous quote by G.K. Chesterton, which was, literature is a luxury, fiction is a necessity. So Chesterton constructs the artistic function of literature with the practical role of the fiction in understanding the human experience and emotions. So these are some of the most famous quotes from the literary criticism and theory. We are going to talk about some of the most famous quotes that are towards the modern and postmodern age from the British literature. So the first quote is, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. So this quote was from Ulysses, which was by Alfred Lord Tennyson. So here this line expresses the indomitable spirit of Ulysses and the Victorian ideal of the perseverance, often interpreted as a call to face the life's challenges. So I believe this quote is going to be applicable to all of us, all of the humans that is living in the 21st century, and those who are going to live in the further generations as well. Next quote we have is, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? So this was a famous line from Ode to West Wind by Percy Bysshe Shelley, that is P.B. Shelley. So here through this line, Shelley conveys that hope and renewal, symbolizing the cyclical nature of life and revolution. And this quote reflects the romantic ideal of optimism and optimism through the despair that we face. The next quote is "Man is born free and everywhere he is in chains." So this was an ironical statement. So this statement was made in the Social Contract by Jean-Jacques Rousseau. So Rousseau here critiques the societal oppression, advocating for the individual freedom and social reform. So this quote is foundational to revolutionary and literary thought. The next quote we have is "Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven." It was one of the most famous quotes from the Paradise Lost, which was by John Milton. So this line was spoken by Sutton, and this line highlights his pride and rebellion. It reflects the epic's exploration of free will, ambition, and defiance against the major authority. And next we have "I have measured out my life with coffee spoons." So this line was from the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot. This line was a metaphoric line, and this metaphor reflects Prufrock's monotonous, fragmented life, which often symbolizes the modernist alienation and his failure to engage meaningfully with the world. So this is all about some of the most important line from the British literature towards its end. And now we are going to talk about American literature. So some of the most famous quotes from the American literature are follows. And the first quote from the American literature that is most important is that "I celebrate myself and sing myself." So this was from the Song of Myself by Walt Whitman. So Whitman expresses the individuality and interconnectedness to celebrate the self and this union with the universal human experience. So the next quote we have is that "So we beat on both against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past." So this was by F. Scott Fitzgerald from his most famous work, The Great Gatsby. So this is the closing line that reflects Gatsby's futile pursuit of the American dream and humanity's struggle against the inevitable passage of the time. So this quote was the last or closing line of The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. The next quote we have is that "the only thing we have to fear is fear itself." And this line was from said by Franklin D. Roosevelt. It's Roosevelt. So Roosevelt's line is often cited to evoke the resilience during the crisis, and it symbolizes the courage that is required to confront the challenges that often echoed in the American literature. And this line was often referenced in our English literature. Next, we have that "because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me." And this line was from Emily Dickinson by Emily Dickinson. So Dickinson here personifies death as a gentle guide who explores the morality and immortality with her characteristic calm yet profound tone. Next, we have the famous line that is "Call me Isabel." So "Call me Isabel" was from the work Moby Dick by Herman Melville. So this iconic opening line establishes Isabel as the narrator, hinting at his outsider status and the grand philosophical journey that is clearly lying ahead. And now we're going to learn some of other key literary quotes. The first quote is "Hell is other people." So it was from the work No Exit by Jean-Paul Sartre. So Sartre here explores the theme of existentialism, and through this line he suggests that interpersonal relationship was shaped by the judgment and expectations, and it can become a source of torment. The next line was from Hamlet, the most famous line of Hamlet, that is "To be or not to be, that is the question." And this Hamlet work was by William Shakespeare. So Hamlet contemplates life, death, reflecting the existential or uncertainty and moral dilemmas. So this line is the central to the play's exploration of human struggle. The next quote was, "History is a nightmare from which I am trying to awake myself." So this line was from Ulysses by James Joyce. And this line reflects Stephen Diddler's struggle with the burden of the past, a recurring theme that is often we can see in the modernist literature. The next quote we have that, "In my beginning is my end." So this line was from Four Quarters by T.S. Eliot. So here Eliot reflects on the cyclical nature of life, emphasizing the continuity, renewal, and the interconnectedness of the beginnings and the endings. The next work was from the feminism, that is A Room of One's Own. So Virginia Woolf said this line in her most famous work, A Room of One's Own. So here Woolf advocates for women's independence and the space to create by arguing for the financial and intellectual freedom that is the most necessary thing in the literary world. So these are some of the most famous quotes or one-liners that we can see often asked in our every literature exam. So please read about all this work if you have skipped any, and try to remember about all these quotes and who said in which context. Please try to remember this while you go through your revision, or even you are preparing from the starting only. So please try to remember who said these quotes and in which context it was being said. And with this, I'm ending my lecture for today. And I hope this video will help you to connect with the timeless course and their relevance for your UGC NET preparation and other English literature exams as well. So please, if you all liked the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content on English literature. And let me know in the comment section below which quote has inspired you the most, or if you have any kind of questions, or if you want on a video on any specific topics, please let me know in the comment section below. Until then, happy learning and see you all in the next video.